National Electrical Code Section 12.3c requires a dedicated branch circuit for fire alarm systems. National Electrical Code Section 215.7c requires the size of the branch circuit to be sufficient to provide the current demand of the system. National Electrical Code Section 422.11c requires fire alarm circuits to be supplied by a circuit rated at least 20 amps if the system is installed in a commercial building or in a 1 and 2 family dwelling unit in which the fire alarm system provides automatic notification to a remote monitoring station. In residential applications where the fire alarm system does not provide automatic notification to a remote monitoring station, a 15-amp circuit may be adequate. However, it is important to verify with the fire alarm manufacturer's specifications to ensure that the circuit can provide the necessary power for the system. National Electrical Code Section 300.21b requires that cables used in fire alarm systems be fire rated. Type C cable with a red sheath is typically used for this purpose. To ensure compliance with National Electrical Code requirements, especially if the fire alarm system provides automatic notification to a remote monitoring station, it is recommended to install a 20-amp circuit. Furthermore, it is advisable to use fire-rated Type C cable, typically with a red sheath. It is also suggested to contact the fire alarm manufacturer to verify the current demand of the system to ensure that a 15-amp circuit would be adequate, if applicable. If sourcing fire-rated MC cable, you could purchase the necessary quantity without overbuying. Consider looking for a local electrical supply house or contacting an electrical contractor who may have leftover materials they can sell. When installing fire alarm systems, understanding the applicable National Electrical Code requirements is crucial for ensuring safety and compliance. Firstly, a dedicated branch circuit, as stipulated by National Electrical Code Section 12.3c, isolates the fire alarm system from other electrical loads, preventing potential interference or disruptions. This dedicated circuit ensures the fire alarm system receives consistent and reliable power. Secondly, the size of the branch circuit must be adequate to handle the current demand of the system, as outlined in National Electrical Code Section 215.7c. This means the circuit's capacity must be sufficient to power all components of the fire alarm system, including the control panel, detectors, and notification devices, without overloading the circuit. Overloading a circuit can lead to overheating, tripping the circuit breaker, and potentially causing a fire hazard. Thirdly, National Electrical Code Section 422.11c specifies that fire alarm circuits must be rated at a minimum of 20 amps in certain scenarios. Specifically, this requirement applies when the system is installed in a commercial building or in a 1 and 2 family dwelling unit where the fire alarm system provides automatic notification to a remote monitoring station. The 20-amp rating ensures that the circuit can handle the higher power demands typically associated with these types of systems, which often include more extensive monitoring and communication capabilities. However, in residential applications where the fire alarm system does not provide automatic notification to a remote monitoring station, a 15-amp circuit may be sufficient. In these cases, the power demands of the system are typically lower, and a 15-amp circuit can adequately supply the necessary power. It is crucial, however, to verify this with the fire alarm manufacturer's specifications to ensure the circuit can handle the system's current draw. Always consult the manufacturer's documentation to determine the specific power requirements of the fire alarm system being installed. In addition to circuit size and amperage, the type of cable used for fire alarm systems is also critical. National Electrical Code Section 300.21b mandates the use of fire-rated cables. These cables are designed to withstand high temperatures and resist the spread of fire, providing an extra layer of protection in the event of a fire. Type C cable with a red sheath is commonly used for fire alarm systems due to its fire-resistant properties and ease of installation. The red sheath also serves as a visual indicator, making it easier to identify the circuit as a fire alarm circuit during maintenance or repairs. When selecting fire-rated MC cable, ensure it meets the applicable standards and is approved for use in fire alarm systems. When determining the appropriate action for a specific fire alarm installation, several factors must be considered. Firstly, determine whether the fire alarm system provides automatic notification to a remote monitoring station. If it does, a 20-amp circuit is generally required to comply with National Electrical Code Section 422.11c. Secondly, consult the fire alarm manufacturer's specifications to verify the current demand of the system. This will help determine whether a 15-amp circuit would be adequate in residential applications where remote monitoring is not present. Thirdly, use fire-rated type MC cable with a red sheath to comply with National Electrical Code Section 300.21b and ensure the cable can withstand high temperatures in the event of a fire. Finally, when purchasing fire-rated MC cable, aim to acquire the necessary quantity without overbuying. Contacting local electrical supply houses or electrical contractors may provide access to smaller quantities of leftover materials, reducing waste and costs. In summary, understanding and adhering to National Electrical Code requirements for fire alarm systems is essential for ensuring safety and compliance. By selecting the appropriate circuit size, using fire-rated cables, and consulting manufacturer's specifications, you can install a fire alarm system that provides reliable protection and meets the necessary safety standards. Furthermore, consider the specific requirements of the installation, such as whether the system provides remote monitoring to determine the appropriate circuit size and cable type. By following these guidelines, you can ensure the fire alarm system operates effectively and protects lives and property. To further elaborate on the selection of appropriate circuit sizes, consider the following scenarios. If the fire alarm system includes multiple notification appliances such as horns, strobes, and speakers, the total current demand of these devices must be factored into the circuit size calculation. Each notification appliance will draw a certain amount of current, and the sum of these currents must not exceed the capacity of the circuit. Additionally, the fire alarm control panel itself will draw current, which must also be included in the calculation. To determine the current draw of each device, consult the manufacturer's specifications or product labels. These typically provide the voltage and current ratings for the device. Once you have the current draw for each device, add them together to determine the total current demand of the system. This total current demand should be less than 80% of the circuit breaker's rating to account for continuous loads. For example, if the total current demand is 12 amps, a 15-amp circuit breaker would be adequate, as 12 amps is less than 80% of 15 amps, which is 12 amps. However, if the total current demand is 16 amps, a 20-amp circuit breaker would be required, as 16 amps is greater than 80% of 15 amps. In addition to the current demand of the system, consider the potential for future expansion. If there is a possibility that additional notification appliances or other devices will be added to the system in the future, it is advisable to choose a circuit breaker with a higher rating to accommodate the increased current demand. This will prevent the need to upgrade the circuit breaker later on, saving time and money. When selecting fire-rated MC cable, consider the specific requirements of the installation environment. If the cable will be exposed to moisture, chemicals, or other harsh conditions, choose a cable that is specifically rated for those conditions. Additionally, consider the bend radius of the cable, especially if it will be routed through tight spaces or around corners. A cable with a smaller bend radius will be easier to install in these situations. It is also important to ensure that the fire-rated MC cable is properly supported and secured to prevent damage or strain. Use appropriate cable clamps or straps to secure the cable at regular intervals, following the manufacturer's recommendations. Avoid over-tightening the clamps or straps, as this can damage the cable and reduce its fire resistance. When connecting the fire-rated MC cable to the fire alarm control panel or other devices, use appropriate connectors and terminations. Ensure that the connectors are properly sized for the cable and that they provide a secure and reliable connection. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing the connectors and terminations. It is also important to properly ground the fire alarm system to prevent electrical shock hazards. Connect the grounding conductor of the fire-rated MC cable to the grounding bus bar in the electrical panel. Ensure that the grounding connection is secure and that it meets the requirements of the National Electrical Code. Before energizing the fire alarm system, thoroughly inspect the installation to ensure that all connections are tight, that all cables are properly supported, and that all components are functioning correctly. Use a multimeter to verify that the voltage and current levels are within the acceptable range. If any problems are detected, correct them before energizing the system. Once the fire alarm system is energized, test it to ensure that it is functioning properly. Activate each of the notification appliances to verify that they are working correctly. Test the alarm system's communication capabilities to ensure that it is able to transmit alarm signals to the remote monitoring station, if applicable. Finally, document the installation of the fire alarm system, including the circuit breaker size, the cable type, and the location of all components. This documentation will be helpful for future maintenance or repairs. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that the fire alarm system is installed correctly and that it provides reliable protection for the occupants of the building. In addition to the specific requirements for fire alarm systems, it is important to be aware of the general electrical safety practices that apply to all electrical installations. Always work with a qualified electrician when installing or repairing electrical systems. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves, when working with electricity. To energize the circuit before working on it, and verify that it is energized using a multimeter. Follow the National Electrical Code and all applicable local codes and regulations. By following these safety practices, you can minimize the risk of electrical shock, fire, and other hazards. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. Furthermore, consider the specific requirements of the fire alarm system being installed. Some systems may require additional features such as battery backup, tamper protection, or supervisory signals. Ensure that the system is equipped with all of the necessary features to meet the requirements of the application. It is also important to properly maintain the fire alarm system to ensure that it continues to function correctly. Regularly inspect the system for damage or wear, and replace any damaged or worn components. Test the system periodically to verify that it is working properly. Keep the area around the fire alarm system clean and free of obstructions. By following these maintenance practices, you can extend the life of the fire alarm system and ensure that it provides reliable protection for years to come. Finally, consider the cost of the fire alarm system installation and maintenance. While it is important to comply with all applicable codes and regulations, it is also important to choose a system that is cost-effective. Compare the prices of different systems and components, and consider the long-term costs of maintenance and repair. By carefully planning the installation and maintenance of the fire alarm system, you can minimize the overall cost without compromising safety or performance. In conclusion, installing a fire alarm system requires careful planning and attention to detail. By understanding the National Electrical Code requirements, following safety practices, and properly maintaining the system, you can ensure that it provides reliable protection for the occupants of the building. Remember to consult with a qualified electrician and to follow all applicable codes and regulations. The selection and installation of fire alarm systems are critical aspects of building safety, necessitating a thorough understanding of relevant codes, standards, and best practices. National Electrical Code, a comprehensive set of guidelines for electrical installations, plays a pivotal role in ensuring the safe and reliable operation of fire alarm systems. Adherence to these codes not only minimizes the risk of fire-related incidents but also safeguards lives and property. The National Fire Protection Association is another key organization that develops and publishes a wide range of fire safety standards, including those pertaining to fire alarm systems. These standards provide detailed guidance on the design, installation, testing, and maintenance of fire alarm systems. Compliance with National Fire Protection Association standards is often mandated by local jurisdictions and insurance companies. The International Building Code also contains provisions related to fire alarm systems, particularly regarding the types of systems required in different types of buildings. The International Building Code specifies when fire alarm systems are required and outlines the minimum performance requirements for those systems. Local building codes and regulations often supplement or amend the National Electrical Code, National Fire Protection Association standards, and International Building Code. It is crucial to consult local authorities to determine the specific requirements that apply to fire alarm systems in a particular area. When designing a fire alarm system, it is essential to consider the specific characteristics of the building and its occupants. Factors such as the building size, occupancy type, and fire hazard should be taken into account. For example, a high-rise building with a large number of occupants will require a more sophisticated fire alarm system than a small office building. The type of fire alarm system selected will depend on the specific needs of the building. There are several types of fire alarm systems available, including conventional systems, addressable systems, and wireless systems. Conventional systems are the simplest and most affordable type of fire alarm system. They typically consist of a control panel, smoke detectors, heat detectors, and notification appliances. Addressable systems are more sophisticated than conventional systems and offer several advantages, such as the ability to identify the specific location of a fire. Wireless systems are becoming increasingly popular due to their ease of installation and flexibility. They eliminate the need for wiring, making them ideal for retrofit applications. The installation of a fire alarm system should be performed by qualified and licensed professionals. Proper installation is critical to ensure that the system functions correctly and provides reliable protection. The installation process typically involves mounting the control panel, installing detectors and notification appliances, and wiring the system. Once the fire alarm system is installed, it must be tested and inspected to ensure that it meets all applicable codes and standards. Testing and inspection should be performed by qualified professionals who are familiar with the system and its requirements. The testing process typically involves activating the detectors and notification appliances to verify that they are functioning correctly. Regular maintenance is essential to ensure that the fire alarm system continues to function properly over time. Maintenance should be performed by qualified professionals and should include Chinese letter acute testing and cleaning of the system. The frequency of maintenance will depend on the type of system and the environment in which it is installed. In addition to regular maintenance, it is important to keep accurate records of all inspections, testing, and maintenance activities. These records can be helpful for troubleshooting problems and demonstrating compliance with codes and standards. Fire alarm systems play a vital role in protecting lives and property. By understanding the relevant codes, standards, and best practices, and by working with qualified professionals, you can ensure that your fire alarm system provides reliable protection in the event of a fire. Staying informed about the latest advancements in fire alarm technology is also crucial. New technologies are constantly emerging, offering enhanced features and improved performance. For example, some fire alarm systems now incorporate advanced smoke detection algorithms that can distinguish between genuine fires and nuisance alarms. Other systems offer remote monitoring capabilities, allowing building owners and managers to monitor the system from anywhere in the world. By staying up to date on the latest technologies, you can make informed decisions about which fire alarm system is best suited for your needs. In addition to technology, it is also important to stay informed about changes to codes and standards. Codes and standards are constantly evolving to reflect new knowledge and best practices. By staying abreast of these changes, you can ensure that your fire alarm system remains compliant and provides the highest level of protection.